Well, I'm keeping up with the coronavirus epidemic to let you know a little bit what's going on and especially to analyze certain statistics that I think are very interesting and will give us a better idea of what's going on. So, how many cases we have up to yesterday, January 31st? 11,374 cases all over the world, with 259 deaths. There's something very interesting about these numbers, and I'd like to analyze them with you right now. First, China continues to be the country where you have 98% of cases, precisely 11,221 cases, with all the deaths that are recorded till now, 259 deaths. That gives us a mortality rate of one patient who dies for every 50 patients who are infected. This is quite high. Now there are a few numbers I'd like to analyze because they're really very interesting. In Hubei, where the infection started, precisely Hubei is the province where you have the city of Wuhan. We have there 7,153 cases with 294 deaths. That gives us a rate of mortality of one patient for every 30 sick people. Well, that's a lot. But this is a lot more than what you have in the general statistics for China. And even more interesting, we have almost 4,000 cases in the rest of China with only 10 deaths. And this gives us a mortality rate of one patient for every 400 people. Almost 1,500 times less than what it is in Hubei. So I'm trying to understand why we have this huge gap between mortality in Hubei and mortality in the rest of China. One of the explanations I've found is that eventually, as the disease started there earlier, you have more time to get people more sick. This is one explanation. The second explanation is that eventually in Hubei, you have more old people. We know that immunity is not the same for everybody. As we age, immunity goes down. So, what are the people that are really at danger for all kinds of viruses because immunity is not the same? People who are 65 years old or more, people who have diabetes, cardiovascular disease, pulmonary disease, diabetes, hypertension, eventually people who are on medication to lower immunity because of autoimmune diseases, very young children and pregnant women. I don't think that in Hubei you have more old people than you have in the rest of China, but eventually that can be true. We will know what happens with mortality rates as soon as we have more days of disease. Probably by the end of next week, February 4th or 5th, we'll know better the mortality in China. If it keeps up to one person who dies for every 400 infected, then it's a totally different picture and it won't be as serious as it's now in Hubei. So let's wait to see what happens with these people. All over the world, 153 patients, no deaths till now. So I think we need to take this seriously, of course, but we have to analyze carefully the death rates we have with the infection. In fact, every time we have an infection, two things are very important: the death rate and the facility with which it spreads to one person to the other. As we don't know this spreading mechanism and its facility, we have to rely on mortality rates. And I think that at least this mortality rate, so different, deserves very careful analysis to avoid these horrible fears that come every time comes every time we have infections. So please, I will keep you updated. If you can, get notified when I update a movie, because you'll know what's going on. I'll try to do this every day if I have time. Thank you.